Hey everyone, it's Marie here, and this video is for you if you are wanting to step out into your next level, and if you are trying to create something more in your life or business or whatever area you've got going on. And I'm talking about like the big juicy goals, right? The stuff that lights the soul up, the stuff that feels like mission based, like stuff that really matters. So I want to talk just very briefly around the obvious fear that comes up is the fear of failure, right? And I think we talk about that a lot. We understand that, like, we're scared to put ourselves out there. We're scared of what if it doesn't work. We're scared of like all the what ifs, right? And I think a lot of us are consciously aware of that, and our minds are very good at coming up with what if this, what if this, what if this. And I encourage you to keep working through those fears. Reach out to me, someone else, whoever, to if you're wanting that assistance, right? But what I want to talk to you about is the flip side of that, because this is something that tripped me up, and it came up a couple of years ago when I was really going into my visibility issues and like really trying to really allow myself to expand forwards. And it wasn't so much for me about a fear of failure, because, and I'll just kind of share with you briefly like what it felt like for me, but it was when I dug into it, because when I used to hold myself back, let's say with kind of showing up the way that I wanted to, making videos, creating live streams, like really sharing the messages that were inside of me and really trying to make that impact that I came here to make. I knew when I tuned in and I used to do maybe some journaling or some inner work, reflecting on fear of failure, it was sort of tricky for me, because I thought, well, I don't really feel like I'm going to fail. Obviously, we have the doubts, right? We have the moments. But overall, if I was to tap into what do I see and what do I feel and sense, it wasn't a fear of failure. And so that used to kind of stump me a bit, going, I really believe that I'm here to do certain things. I really believe that I'm here to create what I'm here to create. I really believe that my mission is real. I'm very tuned into that. So I don't really have this deep down belief of like, I'm gonna like fail at this, because I also, what I've known through the years, even if something doesn't work, I've had lots of things that haven't worked, they flopped or they haven't been successes. I know that it's moving me over into a trajectory that is going to align me with what is here for me, right? So it's a bit of trial and error. So I really don't see it as failure anyway. That's just a belief of mine. Feel free to adopt that. But I do see it as just trial and error. So when I tapped into this, I really went deep into this. And this is what I want to share. The flip side of this fear of failure is the fear of success. And some of us have this where, and it's going to be you, if you know deep down inside of you, you're creating on track, in alignment. Sometimes we have this fear of success. And what that can look like is, holy crap, if this thing goes the way that I feel and know that it will in its own divine timing, what will that actually mean? You might even want to write that down as a journal prompt. And I sat with this and I was like, okay, so if I really do show up in the way that I want, and I do get traction, and I do start to make the impact, and I start to then branch out here and do this and do this and do this, and then the things move for me and my life changes, and I start to really live soul aligned and all that I know that means to me. What does that mean? And then that's when the fear came in for me. It was like the fear of success. It's like, if I'm successful, okay, I'm going to lose people. This was my fear, right? May or may not be true, but check in with yourself. What are the fears? Because sometimes it's the fear of success. Okay, so I might lose people. Like, life won't feel the same way as it used to feel, right? There'll be some element of change that goes with a success. So I just invite you, as you're listening to this, to either reflect now, see what might be something that just has floated in as you're hearing this message, but even so, just to sit with this. If you're feeling a little bit like that you're holding yourself back, you just know that you are, that you're not fully making the moves that you could be, because it's aligned for you. And I'm not talking about if you've got like crazy family stuff and things that really need your attention and now isn't the time for you to maybe make those big moves, but I'm talking about when I really could be taking action here that I'm not. I wonder why that is. And I really, really with love want to encourage you so much not to do it from a place of criticism, that inner critic that will come in. Just do it with a place of like compassion, from a place of compassion, love, curiosity, and start to say, I wonder what my fear is around success. I wonder what I feel like it might cost me, because I spoke about it in a different video. recently, this kind of secondary gain, right? Like sometimes we feel that, you know, yeah, it was a video on, you know, being stuck. It's like sometimes we can feel like there's a benefit, there's a payoff somehow to kind of staying still. So sometimes we have this idea of like, well, if I'm successful, it's funny what your subconscious will believe. It's like it might be a fear of, if I'm successful, my marriage will end or something, right? Or if I'm successful, it will mean that I'll live in an amazing home and I'll move. And then if I move, I'm going to lose all my friends and family who are close by. And that means something to me. For example, it's really interesting when you dig into it. So it's not really a fear of the success itself, but it's this fear of what the success will actually bring. Is a really juicy area. So I encourage you to dive into that, as well as diving into the fears of, you know, failure and those things as well, because sometimes we can be doing both. Often we're multifaceted. We have these different parts of us, right? We're made up of different parts. So I hope that has shone some light maybe on an area that maybe needed to just be brought up to the surface a little bit. But it's really, really interesting, especially when you are multi-passionate, creative, you know, ambitious. We have a lot of dreams, visions, things we came in to the world to do. And so we've really got to be making sure that we are being really conscious and noticing when things come up, noticing how we feel about fears, successes, stepping forward, start to get really conscious. And then we can start to just break that down a little bit, have our breakthroughs, and really start to feel expansive. So I hope that's useful. Drop a comment below. Feel free to share anything that you want to share. And also, if you want to check out ways of working with me, just head to the description in this video. I always leave the link in the descriptions, wherever you're watching this, of, you know, all my stuff basically. So I have lots of different offerings, lots of different ways to work with you, depending on the different levels that you might be at and what you're in need of right now. And again, if you have any questions, comment below. All right, I wish you a great rest of your week. And as usual, I will talk to you or see you in the next video. All right, bye for now.